Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to be talking about how to be socially prepared for college. Did you know that 60% of freshmen report feeling lonely in school and a third suffer from social anxiety? Well, we'll kind of delve into the reasons behind that and how to be prepared for that so those things don't happen to you in this video. All right, let's get you socially prepared for college. To do that, we got to talk about your social confidence and how to build that. What about your ability to make friends? How do you develop that skill? That's going to go right along to the next one, which is a roommate situation and how to deal with that. Any sort of social anxiety. How do you avoid social anxiety? How do you have that confidence so that that goes away? And of course, this idea of a love mindset. What does that mean? How do you get it? All those things we're going to talk about next. Social confidence is something many college students lack when they go to school, and it begins with the beliefs you have about your who you are and kind of that shy, and it goes beyond just being an introvert or extrovert. It's lack of confidence in your ability to connect with people. And one way to begin to get around that is to act as if. It's very simple but powerful. And to consciously and purposely act like somebody who is confident. How would they stand? How would they walk in the room? How do they breathe? How do they carry themselves? And you begin to do that. There's a, when I was getting trained in NLP, I was at one of Tony Robbins' events, and he brought me up on stage to demonstrate this drill of power of acting as if, and he was firing off something called anchoring at the time, and I had to ask out one of the most attractive people I saw in that room on a date in front of all these people, and it was through acting as if, and I did that, and it helped break down those barriers. It was something I had to begin training myself. So he demonstrated, he did the anchoring, I experienced it. Now I had to practice that going forward, but that's something that is very powerful, very simple way to build social confidence. The social confidence that you are working on building also is going to help you make more friends. And making friends for some people can be really hard, and it's related. This is why I've said these are all connected. Okay, so your confidence goes into that, and you need to learn to be natural. It goes to these uh, beliefs that you have about who you are, and be comfortable in your own skin. When you're comfortable in your own skin, it's easier to begin to connect with new people, and you find those common interests. Right? It's that ability to genuinely be interested in somebody else. When you are and you connect with them, you find that common thread, the conversations begin to flow, and other aspects begin to flow. It's really all about that. I'll tell you a story of somebody who didn't have it, who it was some of these cues were forced and he missed it. And this is somebody who was trying out for baseball team that my son played on, and he's a freshman. So fall baseball is going on, and you could kind of tell this is a good baseball program. So he was recruited. His skill set was like, huh. I'm watching him like, yeah, okay, I can see some skills there, but there's something a little off. My son told me about one of the practices where the captain of the team, one of the leaders of the team, was a catcher. This kid was also a catcher. And he started telling this senior the things he was doing wrong in the batting cage. He was correcting the senior captain, leader of the team, like how to do things better during batting practice. That just does not go over well. That is not how you make friends. That's not how you get accepted on a team. He broke like all those rules, and he ended up not making the team, even though he had been recruited and had some good baseball skills. But he burned too many bridges socially that it became obvious it was not a fit. Those are skills that you can learn to develop. Some of it comes from this confidence, and others is just learning to listen, feel other people out before you just start jumping in to some of these things, right? It's learning your environment and becoming socially aware. Roommates in college can be an important area for you to think about to be kind of prepared socially. And a lot of that comes from knowing yourself and learning to be able to communicate. And so when you are there with your roommate, right off the bat, try to get some understanding about what some of your norms will be. Like, what are some of their habits around going to bed, what time they go to bed, what they do before going to bed, uh, study. How do they study? Do they have music cranked while they're studying? Could you study in that sort of environment? Like, what are some of the things that they do? Some, simple solutions might be around the study, and you don't study in your room. You go to the library. Maybe you find out certain times of day that you're a real morning person. They're still sleeping in. It's a good time for you to study. So there's some of those things that you can begin to figure out, but there's also learning to communicate with them. So if there's something that you need to address, it is knowing and the confidence to be able to bring it up. And there is a skill set for doing that. It really kind of begins with your own attitude towards other people and coming from an area where there's respect there for them, and you just want to kind of point that out. And those skills can be taught and to be learned. Uh, Dale Carnegie has a great book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Read that before you go to college because it can be incredibly helpful and valuable. Those are some little tips on preparing for how to manage that roommate situation, which can really be, for some people, really can be quite problematic. But these little tips can make that go much smoother. Social anxiety goes outside of that roommate situation, dorm situation, where you're now trying to meet other people, go to events at college, and it's new people, new situations, new learning. It can be a very challenging for a lot of people. They get very anxious about that. It goes back to the first segment that we talked about, that confidence, that self-confidence that you have socially about who you are. When you build that, this social anxiety can really begin to take care of itself. And it requires you constantly working on this idea that we mentioned about acting as that person who is confident and developing those beliefs, feeding yourself over and over with these positive thoughts about who you are as a person and where your real value comes from. Those things will really help solve that social anxiety that far too many college students experience. So I'm going to end this by talking about the one mindset that really makes all this much easier to deal with. And it's a love mindset. It's really building those characteristics of love. And in particular, it's this idea of building curiosity about other people, about really trying to understand other people, wanting to learn about them. That helps you ask questions of them, get them to do the talking. When you have a genuine interest in other people, when you really love other people, you have more patience. You tend to be kind and respectful and hopeful and optimistic, and all these kind of characteristics that influence every one of these other segments that we just talked about are driven by that. And these are character traits that you work on developing. One of the great methods for doing this is the Ben Franklin method, all right, which is where you focus on one trait, and every day that you do that trait for like a week, you just do a little checkbox, and then you work on another trait. And that's been effective for generations, for eons, on how to build some of these positive beliefs, these mindset, in this case, a mindset of love towards other people. So start doing that, start working on that, and that influences every one of those other areas and will really help you socially being prepared for college. I hope you actually apply some of these little tidbits of information we gave you into your life so that you are socially prepared for college, because it can make that college experience so much more valuable, so much better. And it's just little things that you can do. I encourage you to subscribe to our channel, check out our other videos. In particular, you might be interested in checking out the video, How to Be Financially Prepared for Life After College. So check that one out, and I'll see you in the next video.